Welcome to the 10th episode of the Fat Guys and Friends podcast. I am your co-host, Colton Bartholomew, and I am joined today by fellow big man and angry Steelers fan, Mr. Logan Wang. How are you doing, Wang?
I've been better, Bart.
Well, we will get to that right off the top, but we also have a guest today, honoring the and friends part of the name. We have Joe on the line. Joe, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing? I know Wag's not feeling great, but
First ever returning friend, Joe Barnes.
Joe Barnes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like,
I'm
I think
glad to be
being
back.
on twice in 10 episodes, that means you're regular status.
There we go. I'll take it.
Perfect. To give you guys a list of what we're going to do today, we're going to start off, we're going to let Wang get some things off his chest towards Steelers star running back Le'Veon Bell, who at this point still only faces a suspension, but it's pretty likely that he will miss the first 4 games of the NFL season. And then we're going to talk just briefly about the WWE draft that happened earlier this week, kind of some of the draft picks that we liked or didn't like, and some of the things we're excited to see on the 2 shows. And then we are going to end with a little preview of the Battleground pay-per-view, which airs tomorrow night on the WWE Network. We have a nice little scorecard sheet by the 434 Facebook page. Shout out to them. Lots of fun actually kind of filling that out. So we'll kind of run through those and give you our picks. But we will start today. Mr. Wang, we know you're upset. How do you feel about Le'Veon Bell's, 17th run-in with the drug policy in the NFL?
As I sit here and gaze up to my Le'Veon Bell fathead, I have very mixed feelings in my heart. On one hand, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. Since he came into the league in 2013, he averages 119 yards from scrimmage. That's the best in the NFL. But for the second time, he faces a marijuana-based suspension from the NFL. First one was getting busted and not knowing you can get a DUI while you're high with LeGarrette Blount. You got it reduced down to 2 games. You ended up coming back, played, but then got hurt at the end of the year. Now, this dumb fuck missed a drug test. And from what I've heard from people on sports talk radio that are former NFL players, you have to try to miss a drug test. So now he's facing a 4-game suspension, and his contract's up at the end of the year. I'm not sure if the Steelers should give him a boatload of money. He's earned it on the field, but the last 2 years with the suspensions, and he's had 2 knee injuries, which I know isn't his fault, but at a time, there comes a time where injuries and suspensions pile up, and I don't know what to do with him. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to your point about the drug test, the NFL Players Union has fought long and hard to basically get it down to you're going to be drug tested one of these 2 days, and, basically, hey, clean up for the 2 weeks before and you'll never have any problems. But clearly Le'Veon Bell didn't get the memo. And in most drug policies, and I'm pretty sure it's the NFL's too, missing a test is basically failing a test.
Yep.
So you run into that issue. But you're right, man. I mean, when he's on the field, I argue, outside of Adrian Peterson, probably the best back in football.
Right now, the best overall running back in the NFL, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And he gives the Steelers everything they need from that position, but he hasn't finished the year because of injuries and been suspended. And to use a really lame cliche, I mean, your best ability is availability in sports. And if you can't get on the field because you screwed up or you get hurt a lot, should we pay you that much? Something the Steelers are going to have to figure out.
That team would be so good if all 3 of those guys could be on the same field at the same time. They barely played together, Antonio Brown, Roethlisberger, and Le'Veon Bell. They barely played together last year.
Yeah, I mean, as a
injuries
diehard
and
Bronco
whatever.
fan that loved that we won the Super Bowl, I have no problem admitting if the Steelers are healthy, we lose that game.
If the Steelers aren't playing Fitzgerald Toussaint at running back, they beat the Broncos.
Probably.
Well, you got D'Angelo Williams. He's not a bad
They probably
replacement.
have the best backup running back in the NFL. But D'Angelo Williams,
where they're not a 2 running back system, they're a 1 running back system basically.
and you have to think that D'Angelo Williams is 33 years old now. What are the odds that he rushes for another 900 yards like he did last year?
If you count on him just for those first 4 games and he goes all out in those, maybe he can. Just knowing that he's got pretty much the second half of the season off, because it'll be Le'Veon Bell's spot.
Early in his career, he wasn't the feature back though, because he had Jonathan Stewart in front of him, so he never had to use up all his energy. So he's still got some left in the tank, I think, because he's never been the number 1 back on the team. Like, he's been a 1-2 punch on a team, but he's never been the featured back.
And I keep trying to tell myself this could be a blessing in disguise for Bell, because he is coming off a torn MCL. So maybe it will give him a little more time to recover, and he comes out and balls out in the next 12 games and actually finishes the season. But I'm very torn right now. Well, it's a lot of wait and see with Le'Veon Bell.
True, and there is a possibility that it won't be 4 games. I mean, missing a test, it's usually considered a failed test, but the NFL kind of makes up their rules as they go. So
it'll probably be 2.
Who knows what they're gonna do?
It'll be reduced to 2, hopefully. I think.
But all right, Wang, do you feel sufficiently, angered but released on Le'Veon Bell here?
It's been a while since I felt a good release, so no. But we can move on.
Oh God, I set that up. That was T-ball. Okay, let's jump into the WWE draft. We had a very nice podcast with my buddy Matt Shefke about the preview of the WWE draft, and we actually hit on about half the draft picks going to which shows. I thought our probably best call was Matt taking John Cena for SmackDown, and his reasonings are pretty much correct that they're going to draw eyeballs with one of the stars. So I appreciate the effort by you and Matt Wang.
Joe was a real son of a bitch and said that Matt drafted a better roster than I did, though.
Oh,
well, it was a better. I don't understand how you guys had The Miz going for Dean Ambrose, who's the actual champion right now. I don't understand.
That was Matt's draft pick.
Yeah, that was
a better roster then.
I don't know. It was.
And that's the
you
best part
told me to pick the right show. You didn't tell me whose show was whose. I said his was better.
And the best part is we did the same thing in our group text with our friends, and our group said Raw was better. So
fuck yeah. Suck it, Joe.
But the full draft list, and there's actually been a significant amount of breakdowns of the draft between The Ringer and SB Nation and Bleacher Report and a bunch of places. So
it's been cool. It's been treated like a real sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting turn. But talking about some picks, the one that jumped out at me was Randy Orton going at number 9. So in the second round of SmackDown. Obviously a veteran guy, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be in there. Coming back tomorrow at Battleground, so we'll see. But the thing that really annoyed me was how low Cesaro went. Yeah. I just don't get it. I understand that he hasn't really developed promo-wise, and part of it is because he hasn't had a ton of opportunity. But I just think with his skill, and he's over, the crowd likes him, he could easily be a short-time champion a bunch of times, If he retired and it was a 5-time champion, just, filling in between better feuds, it would totally work.
True.
I think they're going to use it as because he did a shoot promo on the network about it. So I wonder if this is going to turn into him maybe going on a monster heel run, which I think Cesaro could do very well. But I'm with you. I'm confused of why they did it unless it's for a storyline.
Yeah, and to your point about the heel, the problem is he's got everything going for him face wise, and I just don't, without doing a good promo, kind of trashing everybody. I don't know how he can
It'd be really
flip
hard
it all
for him to
heel.
turn
unless he's going against Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe he beats up Mick Foley. I would
See, I'd watch that.
He's a brittle old man. I'd get mad.
Wayne, what jumped out at you as kind of just surprising, or didn't make a whole lot of sense to you?
One of the biggest things that surprised me is that they didn't split up the New Day, the way that they've been hinting at it for weeks on weeks now. They actually went high too. They were the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th overall pick by Raw.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they've been kind of working this angle where it looked like the New Day was going to break up. But you're right. Now that they're all on the same show and the Wyatt family is split up between shows, what does tomorrow's match really do? They've had this whole thing about Xavier Woods kind of like getting possessed by Bray Wyatt and weird wrestling stuff. So, if we all know that the New Day's all going to be on Raw, like, what does tomorrow night's match really mean?
Exactly, because it doesn't make, because the titles aren't aligned, which the New Day became the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions. Earlier this week, they surpassed Paul London and Brian Kendrick, so good for them. But without the titles being on the line, this match really doesn't make sense unless something happens with Xavier Woods, because he's been getting scared and like possessed by Bray Wyatt, like you said. So unless something happens with that angle, but like you said, the Wyatt family isn't together anymore, so why continue with that?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Bray's on SmackDown anyways now. So
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense.
They kind of backed themselves into a weird corner with this match. Joe, what jumped out at you from the draft?
I swear to God, if it's Zack Ryder.
I wasn't going to say anything about that. I told you I won't say anything about that until we discuss his match. But I think that my biggest surprise was Brock Lesnar going that high. Because he's kind of... Just hear me out. He's kind of a part-timer. Yes, he's a name, but he's not around that often. Like, are they going to start having him be around more now? Or are they just going to have him be a part-timer still and just come back for a feud here and there and then leave for a while and then come back again?
Not unless they threw more money at him, he's not going to be around more.
Yeah, he signed up for the amount of dates he signed up for.
Right, so that's what confused me a lot. Like, I get it, like it's a name that they had to throw out there, but it seemed like it was really high for him to go.
There was actually a report out there that before Brock's UFC drug test came out, he was supposed to go number 1 overall.
Really?
I don't know.
That wouldn't have made any sense, but...
and the thing that bothered me most about the draft was unless they're going to make it a storyline, the Heath Slater thing where he didn't even get drafted.
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious, yes, but he's done so much jobbing for the company for so long that he deserves something. Like, at least draft the guy.
That promo makes it worth it. That minute on the network or whatever.
Or
all the lights getting turned off on him. that made it worth it. And he'll go to one of the two and
they're
continue
actually
jobbing.
using this as an angle. Like, he's going to do indie shows for like a month or two and then coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Good.
I mean, they seem to be
something.
more open to guys doing that, like just not having open contracts, but taking some time off and doing other shows as long as it's not like TNA.
Yeah, right.
But another thing that just kind of stunned me, like Big Show going in the 5th round. I understand it was the second to last round on TV, but Big Show has maybe another year left on his contract, and he said he's done, and he doesn't matter anymore. I mean, there's only so many times you can watch somebody punch someone or chokeslam them and be 7 foot and fat.
Yeah,
it's just not entertaining anymore.
Him and Kane going before Apollo Crews didn't make any sense to me. Because Apollo Crews is a young guy that's actually got some upside, and Kane and Big Show go way before him. Like, that doesn't make sense.
You need people to get other people over. I agree. Because Kane went pretty late, but Big Show went awfully high for me, which does make sense. But he's there. He's a great backstage mentor. I doubt that went into his draft process.
Yeah.
You need people around to get other people over, and Big Show's been doing it for close to 5 years now.
Yeah, that's a good
Kind of
point.
like a Jericho.
Yeah, and Jericho going so high, I guess I understand it, but I mean, ugh.
He does good promos, and he's a good guy to get people over.
Yeah,
And the
I
fact
just don't
that
know.
he can wear so many hats. He can be
Yeah.
the face that everybody cheers. He's doing a
Yep.
good heel run right now. He hosts the highlight reel where you can have people come back like Randy Orton tomorrow night. He's very versatile.
Yeah,
true.
but it's smart that they put it on Raw, because if they're gonna do this thing where Raw's more heavily storyline based and SmackDown's gonna be more in-ring stuff, which we'll see if that actually comes to pass. But it's smart to have Jericho, because as you mentioned, he'll be able to do all that type of extra stuff, as opposed to depending on him to put on great matches every week just because it's so late in his career.
One last thing I wanted to bring up is that I am stunned that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are on the same show.
Yeah, I thought they were going to
so am
stop
I.
that.
I thought they were finally going to put an end to that, but I mean, I'll watch them fight forever, but there's so many things you can do, and right now all they're doing is just punching each other in the head repeatedly.
Yeah. The only thing that I can maybe see is if one of them gets the IC title back, or whatever the secondary title on Raw is going to be, because I think the IC title is on SmackDown. So maybe one of them has a secondary title, and then they finally get that WrestleMania one-on-one match that they've kind of been building up toward for a long time. But
yeah, who knows?
the other thing, just as from a division standpoint, they announced that Raw is going to have a cruiserweight division. If it's anything like the Cruiserweight Classic, I mean, some of those matches are pretty insane, even though they've got shorter time limits. But the amount of like top level women that are on Raw versus the women that are going to be on SmackDown, why even have women on SmackDown?
I agree. SmackDown
Like,
has Becky Lynch and Natalya, and that's really it. And then they
And
have
then they brought up
the two NXT girls, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah,
and Carmella.
the worst of the two NXT girls.
I think Carmella's
and-
pretty good, but she was way better when she was paired with Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, but and then they split those two up. They're not gonna join back up on the main roster. It just doesn't make sense to me if you're gonna have women on both shows. Why SmackDown only has one woman that anyone really wants to watch in Becky Lynch?
And what are they gonna fight for? You can only have so many non-title based storylines, and that's all the
True.
SmackDown
And if it's
women are gonna
only
fight for.
Natalia and her, they're not. This will probably be basically done after this pay-per-view, I would imagine.
Hopefully.
This rivalry they've got, but it probably won't be because they don't have anybody else to do anything with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense to have girls on SmackDown.
Well,
Just because there's no title.
When you only have one title, like unless there's an, I
I
haven't
don't
heard
think that-
anything, but I can't imagine they're gonna do a secondary women's division title.
No.
Like it's never happened before. They never had like women's tag or anything like that. It's just, especially if on SmackDown, there's only gonna be 2 hours. There's only gonna be one women's match a week. You imagine?
Yeah. There's just not enough women's wrestlers to have a secondary title.
No, not yet. I
True.
mean, they're trying. I feel like they're trying to get to a.
They're
point
trying
where
to
that's
push
a
it there,
possibility.
but it's not there yet.
It's also a fact that women's wrestlers' careers are shorter.
Very true.
You know, they get to their mid-30s and just it seems like injuries pile up more, or
Start
you know they
spitting
get
out
smart and
babies,
realize
am I
that.
right?
What's that?
You
God
start
damn it.
spitting out babies.
Well, I mean, that is part of it.
It
but-
happens, I guess.
But one thing that I'm sure we were all happy to see, Finn Balor going in the first 5.
Finally.
I mean,
Yeah.
getting him up. I kind of wish they would have done it where he interfered, kind of like made a surprise call up, but you know, still happy to see Finn Balor finally get up, and you know, the amount of stuff they could do with him versus Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, and then the club is there on Raw too. I mean, I can't imagine they're going to go without doing the secondary version of the club where Finn Balor is the leader.
Balor Club, bro. It's happening.
Balor Club, bro. But all in all, good draft, and whoever wins the WWE title on Battleground, which we'll get to in a little while, it's gonna kind of get a big momentum point for whatever show they're on. Obviously, 2/3 of the people in the match are on Raw and one's on SmackDown, but should be interesting to see what they can do with a top belt, and then if they're going to bring in a second top belt, if they bring the World Heavyweight Championship back, or who knows? I mean, they could have it like they did for a while, where the champion goes on both shows. But
I hope they don't do that.
I hope they don't do that either, but I hope they don't rush back a second big title either.
True.
All right. Well, that was a draft. Now let's get into Battleground, the pay-per-view that is on the network tonight. And as we mentioned, we have scorecards from the 434 Facebook page. They kind of list off the matches. You pick your winner, and you get 5 points for the winner. And then there are extra stipulations with each match that you guess, and you get 3 points per stipulation. So we'll go through our picks and probably yell at each other because we think one of our group here is dumb for whatever they picked. I got my money on Joe because he already prefaced that he's gonna make us angry with something.
There is one match not listed on here that we should talk about. It's the pre-show. They have the Usos against Breezango.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
I'm a huge Breezango fan.
Yeah. Why don't we want to talk about that?
Go Breezango. There, we talked about
it. Hey, I bet. Here's my bet for extras. The Usos scream Uso 17 times.
And I bet you they super kick someone.
I bet they double super kick somebody.
You're a madman.
I know. Oh my god. That could have been crazy. A group to get broken up. But then they probably don't have any plans for them single-wise.
Which one's which, man?
You know that's why they have to wear different color arm sleeves, right?
Well, don't they paint different halves of their faces, too?
Yeah, but you can't expect Michael Cole sitting on the monitor to look at the faces. That's why they have different arm sleeves.
Michael Cole is a quality broadcaster.
Well, yeah, but the faces are a lot harder to look at than a bright colored arm sleeve.
You right.
That's true.
We had a pair of twins on a basketball team I played on freshman year. They were Mark and Matt, and my basketball coach made Mark wear like 6 wristbands, like Live Strong bands back. It was a freshman year of high school, so like 6 Live Strong bands. So it was like, oh, you have marks on you. You're Mark.
Apparently, this is a podcast to reminisce about high school basketball.
Damn right it is. So you don't bring me on, all right? Bring me on as host if you don't want that quality magic.
You're right.
All right, so fine. Who wins Usos Breezango?
I'm hoping Breezango because I'm tired of the Usos and Breezango's actually funny.
You know who's not tired of the Usos? 6-year-olds.
Roman Reigns.
Oh, that was a good one.
Thanks.
All right, so let's get on to the matches that actually matter. All right, first off,
actually matter. We have a real zinger to start with.
Yeah, as I said that, I was like, oh shit. It doesn't entirely matter. We've seen it a bunch of times already. But Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Let's start with the winners first. I think this is going to be a unanimous one. Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
Natty.
Oh shit.
You're an idiot. Already, Joe.
Yeah, already.
All right. For the extras, our options were pin, submission, or DQ. Or is there going to be a brawl before the bell? And how many submissions are going to be applied? I went with submission for the match finish.
Same.
Yeah, so did I. Yep.
Yeah, both people's finishers are submission, so that's probably a pretty easy one. Is there going to be a brawl before the bell? I went with no because the women's match, and that happens like once a year, maybe.
Yeah, I said no.
All right. And then number of submission applies. I mean, that's going to be kind of arbitrary, but I went with 3.
Same.
I say both people are.
I went with 2.
Two, okay. Two. I just guess maybe both people get in the other person's submission and somehow get out. But then I'm starting to think maybe they don't let Natalya get out of, what was it? What's Becky Lynch's called?
The Disarmer.
The Disarmer, that's what
Some
it is.
wrestling fan you are.
I forget. I know what she does. It's a sitting armbar. Alright. So that was that one. No titles on the line or anything. Basically going to be I guess we can say who's the top women's wrestler on SmackDown, but it's Becky Lynch. Alright, for the IC title, we have The Miz with Maurice versus Darren Young, who's all of a sudden getting this big push. I guess those 2 months of promos finally...
It's because they're making him great again, man.
He is. He's coming back strong with Bob Backlund in his corner. For the win, I said Miz.
Miz.
Darren.
Joe.
Well, they've been talking about him getting a push for 2 months now. They give him the push. Why would I say they're gonna have him win it? Just why push him back down again after
because
that?
He had his first match last week. Yeah, he was in that. Yeah, with the crossface chicken wing.
I still think I'll think he wins.
All right. For the pin submission or DQ, I went with pin.
Pin.
Yeah.
All right, everybody's on the pin. Darren Young apparently is getting the pin. He's not throwing the crossface chicken wing again.
Yeah, he's getting a pin. He won't expect. The Miz won't expect it.
Okay, all right. This is my favorite stipulation or extra guess on the card here. Maurice and Bob Backlund altercation. I went with a big yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I want to see it.
Absolutely.
Maurice is slapping the shit out of Bob Backlund. And he's going to do the hardest backdrop on the side of the ring that you can from being slapped by a girl.
She beat up Zack Ryder's dad. What's going to stop her from beating up Bob Backlund?
Exactly. She has an affinity for beating up old men. And then Maurice and/or Backlund interference. This is kind of arbitrary in like how do you define interference? But one of them, most likely Maurice, is going to be on the side of the ring or on the apron and distracting the referee at some point. So I say definitely yes.
You're probably right, but I said no.
You know,
I went with no, but yeah, you're probably right with that, the Maurice thing, because she does that.
I mean, that's the thing. Is interference like actually hitting one of the opponents, or is it just doing like the referee distraction?
Yeah.
I would call a referee distraction counting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, we'll move on to the United States Championship match with apparently Joe's favorite guy, Zack Ryder, and facing off with the champion Rusev with Lana in his corner. I went with Rusev. I don't think they're gonna put another title on Zack Ryder, but that's just me.
Rusev is on too good of a run to lose now. I went with Rusev.
I went with Ryder, but that's because I went with Darren Young in the first one. They're not going to put both titles on the same show. So whoever wins the first one, the opposite is going to win. So if The Miz wins the first match, then Rusev's going to win the second one. Because there's no way they're putting those same titles on those titles on the same show.
I would argue that there's no reason that they're going to change titles, any of the secondary titles on Battleground, and they have SummerSlam coming up in less than a month here.
True.
But
I went with Ryder not because I like him, but because I went with Darren Young with the first one.
okay. So for the pin, submission, or DQ, I went with submission because if it's going to be Rusev winning, he's going to do the accolade.
Yeah, submission.
I went with pin because Ryder doesn't do submissions.
Elbow drop, bruh.
The
That's not a
elbow or the
submission.
broski kick, the broski boot, excuse me. Lana interference. I went with yes, but now I'm starting to doubt it.
I said
'cause
no.
She might not need to.
I said no. She doesn't really do anything. She just kind of stands around.
Yeah.
Looks
Stands
hot.
there.
Being the
Everybody
Russian eye candy. How mad do you think Vince was when the whole we're turning Lana against Rusev thing happened, and then in kayfabe world, and then on some random Wednesday night she posts a Instagram
We're
picture of them getting engaged. Yeah.
He was probably furious.
Had to be upset. Keep that shit on the wraps for a while, people.
Right. Don't tell
All right.
TMZ the night of.
Yeah. All right. Another women's match. Title's not on the line, but kind of ending this tag team feud before the brand split here. Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Sasha Banks and a mystery partner. For the win, I say Sasha Banks and the mystery partner.
Yep.
Yep. I agree.
All right, we're all in agreement there. Good stuff. Well, we're obviously pin submission DQ. I went with submission just
Same.
because
Yep.
both main people, Sasha Banks and Charlotte's finishers are submissions.
Yep.
Joe,
Yeah, I went with submission. Sorry.
Wang.
Oh yeah, I went with submission.
Okay, all in agreement there. All right, this is another fun one here. The name of the mystery partner. Now there was a lot of anger that Bayley, the NXT women's wrestler, who's probably the most popular down there after the big call up last year. Just totally over with the smaller crowd. Lots of people upset that she wasn't drafted, including me. I like her gimmick, and I think she could do really well on the main roster. So I think that's who Sasha Banks' mystery partner is going to be.
Joe.
I said, just threw a name out. I said Naomi because she hasn't been around and she got drafted. So I think that she comes back and has a new gimmick. And yeah, so that's why I went with
Sure. And they could bring up the whole, they were in that lame, what was it, Team Bad?
Yeah.
That when
Yeah.
during the quote-unquote Divas Revolution, they had that team going, so maybe it calls back to that. That's actually not
Yeah.
a bad pick. I mean, I don't think it would be as big of a pop as Bayley.
Right.
But very realistic. I like that. All right, Wang, who you got?
I really hope I'm wrong because I really want it to be Bayley, but she just got cleared to come back, so I think it could be Nikki Bella.
And when we actually, full disclosure, Wang and I Snapchatted each other a couple of pics on here last night, and when you sent me that, I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about that, and I'm starting to think you're right. I wish it was Bayley, but I didn't know that Nikki Bella just got cleared, and if she did, they're going to bring her back.
Yeah, like I said, I want to be wrong, but it's WWE, so it probably will be Nikki Bella because she has sex with John Cena.
Exactly. She's over and under John Cena.
Sexy
All right. Okay, who makes the fall and who takes the fall? I said Brooke gonna take it, and Sasha Banks is gonna give it. So she'll throw it in the Banks state and she'll tap.
Yep. That's exactly what I said.
All right. I like when we agree. Keeps the show moving
Well,
forward.
that might be the last one that we do. So
Oh,
here we go.
Joe is out here, and there's fantasy booking, and now there's Joe Barnes booking.
Joe.
All right. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. We alluded to it earlier. These guys put on great matches anytime they wrestle. Hopefully they give them a solid 20 minutes here to really just have some great spots. I said Kevin Owens.
Same.
I don't know
I
if
said Sammy.
You said Sammy? Okay. I mean, it's funny because Owens is doing everything a heel. You know, he's doing everything, the cartoony heel does, but he's just loved. And
Right.
even when he does like cheap shots or does all this stuff, he gets cheered. So I mean, that's the best of both worlds for the bookers, and I just feel like Owens will take this one. But Joe, what's your defense on Zayn?
I think the last time they did one on a pay-per-view, Kevin won. So I just think that Sammy hasn't won anything in a while, like pay-per-view wise. So I think that he'll end up winning that just because they want to get the feud over with. He's the face. Like, that's just to stop it. Hopefully it stops it. It won't. They're going to keep going, but...
Well, the only thing is, I feel like if Sami Zayn wins, you could go, okay, what was that last pay-per-view they wrestled at?
Money in the Bank.
Yeah, so if
Well,
Owens
they were
won
in that
there,
match.
Zayn wins here, then you gotta have a rubber match, right? That would be my only thing. If they wanted to end the feud, they'd probably go with Owens just so he's got more wins over him.
Yeah, I guess you're right on that one.
But we'll see. I mean, if Sami Zayn wins,
It
not
could
gonna
go.
be a
It's one of
shock.
those that could go either way. Like 100% could go either way on that. I think.
Yeah.
This is really the biggest toss-up on the card.
Yeah. And rightfully so, because I mean these guys are both over. And I loved Kevin Owens whining about why he wasn't drafted yet when he came out for his match on SmackDown. He's so good at being like the old, like, you know how Jericho was like kind of the whiny heel, but would always just eventually win. God, that's Owens right now, but almost even better.
He's just good.
Apparently
at
Canadians are
pro
really good at whining. All right, shot at Canada, and we move on. Pin submission DQ. Both these guys have big pin moves, so I just went pin.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, brawl before the bell. I said yes.
Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, they've been
It's
doing
not
that
happening.
on TV.
It's
all the
their
time and stuff
shtick.
whatnot. Fight moves into the crowd. I didn't even really consider this, and I don't know if it can because I don't think this match has any stipulations. But I said yes just because I want it to happen.
Yeah, I want to see it, so I said yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and when Owens moved into the crowd with John Cena at one of the pay-per-view matches they had last year, it was awesome. They did really well, so hopefully they let him go out there. And then clean finish, I said no. I think there's going to be some type of cheap shot. So then when they obviously revisit this feud sometime down the line, they can just bring up that cheap shot, whatever it is.
Yeah. I also said no on the clean finish, even though Sammy's winning for me.
I said
that.
there
Doesn't
would
make
be
sense.
a clean finish, but I can see there not being a clean finish as well.
Okay, all right. I wish there was some type of title belt or something that was an easy, like, oh, he'll hit him with that, but
Yeah.
there's not this time. All right, moving on to New Day and the Wyatt family. We talked about this match kind of not meaning as much now since the Wyatts are split up and the New Day are all together on Raw, but for whatever reason, the title belt's all on the line, probably because the Wyatts got split up, but I said New Day for the win.
Same.
Yep.
All right, all in agreement there. I like it. Pin submission DQ. I went with pin.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, all in agreement there. The only the other way I could see it is maybe a DQ if the Wyatts just, cheap shot or do a chair shot or something.
Beat the shit out of it.
Yeah, who knows? Who takes the fall? Who makes the fall? I went with Big E pinning Eric Rowan.
Oh my god.
I went with Xavier Woods pinning Rowan.
Okay.
Just because it's mostly been about.
You went with me.
Yeah, I went with Big E, Pitt, and Eric Rowan.
Yeah, they can't let Bray get the pin
No,
or
definitely
get
not.
pinned.
No,
Or Braun
Yeah.
Strowman, for that matter, because what if they want to bill him as this monster later on?
Because if Braun Strowman gets pinned, what is the point of him being there?
Exactly. You
Right,
can't have a
right.
monster like that take a pin. Even if it's from
And
Big
you
E.
can't have a guy who can't wrestle and be billed as a monster. I'm out on Strowman. I understand why he's there, but he is bad when he gets in the ring.
Yeah, hopefully him being off by himself maybe helps him a little bit.
Yeah,
I
we'll
doubt
see.
it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
I see.
Okay, these are some other extras that I liked. Xavier Woods leaves scared mid-match.
No.
I went with no, but I actually would love if this happened.
I think it'd be really funny, but I said no as well.
Yeah.
Joe?
It would be really funny if he did.
But you went with no also?
Yeah, I went with no also.
Okay. And then Xavier Woods turns on the New Day. Also a possibility, but I said no just because they're all together still.
I
Yeah,
said
they
no,
Unless they're
split
going to
them
make that
up,
a
so-
Raw storyline.
but
of,
I really
like-
want it to happen. I just want something to happen.
But you like the New Day.
I know.
I love the New Day.
I am in love with the New Day, but it'd be a cool storyline.
Yeah. Or,
Yeah.
see, that's why the leaving scared mid-match makes more sense. Somehow, Kofi and Big E figure it out. They win. But then, that becomes, like, kind of the rift and keeps going on that on Raw. Like, what the hell, man, you bailed on us.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, moving on to, I would say, outside of the title match, probably the most anticipated match just because of who's in it here. We've got John Cena teaming up with Enzo and Cass versus the Club. The last time we'll see the AJ Styles-led Club for a while because the Club tag team is on SmackDown, or is on Raw, and AJ is on SmackDown. So, for the win, I went with Cena, Amore, and Cass. mostly because if you're going to split them up, you might as well have them go out on their backs. And John Cena.
I went with the club winning with AJ pinning Enzo.
I went with the club winning for the exact same reason you have Enzo and Cass winning, because when you have John Cena in a tag team, it's the perfect way to have John Cena lose without having John Cena lose. So that's why I went with the club.
Very fair. Okay. I actually, you know what? I kind of stomped on my own gimmick there. Because in the pin submission DQ extra here, I have as a DQ. So I have the club chair-shotting and then beating up John Cena.
It's what they love to do. They love to
They
beat
do
up
love
John
doing
Cena.
that.
Beat up John Cena.
Beat up John Cena. The fact that that actually got like some traction as a hashtag is amazing.
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
It is really funny, especially when you look at some of, not the wrestlers saying it, but, other people just taking it and run with it. Oh, too good. Outside interference or distraction. By outside, I said, some, magical seventh person comes in. Unless that's how they want to bring Finn Balor onto the roster.
Yeah, that's
nothing
I
else
said
makes
yeah,
sense.
just because of Finn Balor.
That's what I'm hoping
Yeah,
for.
That's how to get
for
him
Finn
in
Balor.
and have him already be on the main card of the show. Would have him do that and be there with the club instead of just being like, oh hey, remember we used to be friends. All right, let's be a group again. That kind
There's
of
only
thing.
so far they can go with this, hey, we used to wrestle in Japan stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gotta give the club, like Gallows and Anderson, some better matches, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep hyping up how good they were, but then they throw them in there with, not jobbers, but one-on-one with Enzo. Like, who really cares?
Yeah,
Right.
I said at Money in the Bank when they had that four-way, they should have gave the titles to Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, it could have worked. All right, moving on to the triple threat. WWE Championship on the line. Champion Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns in there. Side note, you can bet on WWE, and the one thing apparently that you can't do is bet against someone, because I would have put my life savings, which admittedly not a ton of money, but a good amount of money on Roman Reigns not winning this match.
Yep, I agree with that.
I don't know.
There is absolutely no way in hell that Roman Reigns gets the belt.
It would be
after a
stupid.
30-day
Comes back from a
suspension.
suspension and then gets the title.
What if he comes back as a monster heel, though, and cheats to win? And you finally get the Roman heel turn, and he's the champion again.
All right,
That's
we
the
can
only
get to
way
that
it could
because there's another box on here that might be on my sheet. But for the win in this match, I went with Rollins.
Me too.
I think they
went
keep
with Ambrose.
the big belt on Raw because Raw honestly didn't get, I feel like, as many big time headliners outside of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns maybe, because like we mentioned, Lesnar's not going to be there. So I don't know if SmackDown needs the big belt if they have guys like Cena and Styles.
That's true. I accept
that
Roman
is
winning
true, but I just had Ambrose winning because they want to get SmackDown the ratings. So
True.
I think having the title on that for at least for a little while would make sense if they somehow try to make it go over to Raw at some point. But
I also really thought about picking Dean Ambrose because it almost dilutes his title reign. Because everybody knows he won the title because Roman Reigns got suspended. So just keeping the belt on him for a month and then having Roman come back, even if he doesn't drop the belt to Roman, it just makes Ambrose look like shit.
yeah, this looks like a
Fair.
title holder
Fair.
for a while.
I like Joe's argument about the bump for SmackDown ratings if you have the big belt on there. That actually, I'm not switching my pick, but I do feel
It
like
makes
that's
sense.
a very convincing argument there. Pin submission or DQ? I went with pin.
Pin.
Yep.
Everybody got pin. They all have actually decent finishers. I mean, Roman Spears kind of lame, but at least he sells it a little bit.
What about the Superman punch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also
It's
lame.
my
man.
fave.
Yeah, man. You love
Because
Roman
I'm
Reigns.
6.
See, that's the thing that actually kind of scares me. Is that, okay, 6-year-old, it's going to be tough for them to pick up their friend and do an attitude adjustment or whatever. But it's like, hey, 6-year-olds can tackle each other or punch each other.
Who can't do a
WWE.
Superman punch?
Yeah, start thinking about when kids are doing this at home, because that disclaimer doesn't stop anybody.
It's true.
But for who makes the fall and who takes the fall, I went with Rollins pinning Reigns. I feel like they're going to make Reigns possibly end up on his back, but we'll see. I just think they want to shit on Reigns some more.
Yeah, I went Ambrose over Reigns.
I have Rollins pinning Ambrose.
Okay. They better give this match like 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's
If a couple of matches near the top of the card,
Yeah, they have to do.
They've had
they have to make it
this
long.
match in their back pocket for so long. It needs to live up to the hype.
Right?
yeah, since the Shield broke up, which was almost 2 years ago, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
This has been out there, like, and with the brand split and everything that happened with Rollins injuries, this was supposed to be a WrestleMania match this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine if that was the main event as opposed to that Reigns Triple H debacle?
I like Triple H.
Yeah, I don't mind him either, but like to have the championship match at WrestleMania be 15 minutes.
Yeah, and being insanely predictable.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a whole nother podcast. But we'll jump down here. Outside interference or distraction. With these three guys, if they bring in somebody else,
It
I'll
doesn't
be,
make
no.
sense.
Yeah,
I'll be
I said
legit
no.
upset.
It doesn't
I
make
said no.
Yeah, no.
All right, everybody's on no on that one. Clean finish. I said yes, but
I said yes because I had Ambrose beating Reigns, but if it's Rollins that wins over Reigns, I would say no, just so they could keep that story going with both of them on Raw.
true.
But because Ambrose is on SmackDown, they wouldn't be able to do anything with it because they're on different shows.
I really want a clean finish, but I don't think we're going to get it.
Maybe not. Maybe save a rematch for SummerSlam or something. Number of finishers executed. I actually loved this being one of the extras on here because they are screwing a lot of these guys' finishers by how much people kick out of them.
That's true.
I don't understand the idea of.
I feel like you
I
might
understand
be mad
maybe
about
once
the
in a while
number
in
I
a
put
big
down there.
match because then it's like, oh my God, who would have seen that coming? But like every time Rollins hits a pedigree, it seems like somebody kicks out, and it's like,
Yeah,
what?
that's true.
That's because it's
Come
not
on.
his own move.
That's true. But so I went with 5
Holy
finishers
Christ.
executed.
That was more than I thought.
Yeah.
I said
You were
4.
complaining
I said
about the number
4.
of finishers, and then you went with 5?
Well, that's what I'm saying,
I-
because they keep doing this, so I'm just going to continue the trend here. I think there's going to be 5. I think Ambrose is going to hit both of them with Dirty D's because it's a fast one. I think everybody else is going to catch a spear.
True.
So I went with
I
5.
went-
What'd you go with, Wang?
I went with 4. I think everybody's going to hit 1.
Oh,
and then-
freaking out at me. I went with 1 more than you.
Well, you were the one bitching
You
about
were
the
complaining about all
amount.
the finishers. I
I thought you were going to go really low.
No, but that's the thing. I'm complaining that's happening, so I'm just going to assume it's going to keep happening.
I went with 4. I think everybody will hit it
Yeah,
once, and then Rollins will hit it to end the match.
Okay.
Yeah, I said 4 also. I
All
figured
right.
right at the end, there's going to be there'll be 2 finishers right at the end. Somebody's going to hit Reigns is going to hit Rollins with a spear, and then Ambrose is going to hit Reigns with a dirty deeds, and that's going to be the end of the match.
Gotcha, okay. And you know how triple threats work. One guy takes a finisher, and then the other guy breaks it up, and then the guy who
Yeah.
just took
Tosses
the
him
finisher
out,
rolls out in
wins.
the match and catches his breath
Yeah.
for 5 minutes.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's lots of possibilities here. I love this little game here. Announcer's table bonus. You cross out the table of the announcers that are going to get destroyed. You have the Spanish, the English, and the other. Which lately
Clearly,
it's
the
been like
Spanish
German
one is going to get
announce
destroyed
table.
at some point.
Yeah.
Spanish announce table's getting destroyed.
Yeah, I got the Spanish getting taken out.
You guys both got Spanish?
Yep.
Yep.
I
It
went with
always
other.
gets taken out.
I went with other. I mean, you could easily sell me. I don't think they're gonna destroy the main. But if they did, it better be in the championship match. Like they just destroy everything.
Yeah,
around
it's so
them, you know?
dumb when
Yeah.
they take out the main announce table at like the second match, and the guys are just sitting there with all their papers in their hands. It just
Yeah.
looks bad.
You gotta
Yeah.
imagine that Cole and JBL and everybody was pissed when that happened.
It's got to be so annoying for them.
Yeah, it's like, oh great, I have this entire script of promo and match stuff that I have to call, and now I don't have anywhere to put it. Awesome, thanks guys. But and then highlight reel with Randy Orton, Jericho and Orton doing a promo here essentially. Left standing, I went with both. I kind of made some interesting calls here. That probably going to be wrong, but just kind of. I think so. I think both guys are going to be upright at the end of this.
I say you're wrong. I think it's just going to be Randy standing tall.
Yep.
Okay.
You gotta,
and then
you
here's
gotta
another
come
one I'm
back
sure
with
you guys are going
Impact.
to disagree with me on. Jericho taking an RKO. I say no.
What? That's what he's there
Why
for.
not?
He's there to take an
you're-
RKO.
Because man,
Orton's
I'll
not
tell
just
you-
going
I'll
to come
tell you
back and
why
just not
in
do
a minute.
anything.
All right.
All right.
Lesnar's failed UFC drug test mentioned.
Duh.
Yes.
Yes, but not for me. I wish I could have a third box here. Yes, but not directly. There's going to be some mention of the fact that he's cheated or he's juiced or something, but they're not going to specifically say UFC drug test or anything like that.
I don't know. They called out Roman Reigns for something he did in the company. What's going to stop him from saying something outside of the company?
That's true.
That's probably, yeah, I guess you're right. But even if they did, my yes is still correct. So we're all on yes on that one?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. And then, Lesnar or Heyman appearance. I went with yes, and that's who's going to take the RKO. Heyman.
Paul Heyman?
Oh,
Yes.
that
I hope so. That'd
that
be
could
cool.
happen. It's going to be both from Jericho and Heyman are both going to take
At
one.
the same time.
What?
He's got 2 arms.
I mean, I guess, but it doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, I went with yes as well, that they'll show up.
Okay. NXT Superstar appearances. I went with Finn Balor and American Alpha. Just because I want to see them.
I just went with Finn Balor.
Finn
I
Balor.
would want Finn Balor, too.
Yeah. So now that, 3 smart wrestling fans all think Finn Balor's going to show up, he won't.
Yeah.
Just to screw with us.
Yeah, they'll fuck us over by not having him show up.
Yep. And then the closing shot of Battleground. This one is, I think, one of the interesting ones because, obviously the closing shot, that's kind of what becomes the picture of the night. For me, Reigns is going to get pinned in that match, but then while the other person is celebrating, he's going to either hit him with a chair or do something. So my closing shot is Roman Reigns, after some cheap shots, making his heel turn.
Roman heel turn is a closing shot. That's awesome.
That is
See?
actually pretty good. That's
Thank you.
really good.
I appreciate the love. Wang, what'd you go with?
I just went with the classic Seth Rollins celebrating. I don't know if it's going to be on the ropes or at the top of the ramp, but it's going to close with him holding the belt high celebrating.
I kind of did the same thing, except for I was Ambrose celebrating with the title. That's basically what I did. Standing
Okay.
over Roman Reigns.
All right. Interesting. I think if we're going to rate whose would be the most interesting, mine's up there.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yours was good.
I just want
Yours-
Roman Reigns to turn heel so bad.
Yeah, it needs to
They
happen.
Because-
need to. It needs to happen.
Because, nobody wants him. Like the babyface angle just didn't work. Nobody wants him, so you might as well have him be a douche to the fans that are douches to him.
You know what they
Yeah.
could fuck around and do now is have this Roman Reigns Road to Redemption thing that they originally said they might do, and just get him even more real booze instead of fake booze when he's a heel.
It's dumb.
That'd be lame.
I don't want it.
So
I don't want it one
lame.
bit.
All right, well there
They'll
is
do it.
our breakdown, or excuse me, our preview of the Battleground pay-per-view. I think if we were the bookers here and were able to make this pay-per-view, it would actually be pretty entertaining, depending on the matches.
I mean, I'll watch regardless, but I would like to watch
Yeah.
what we said.
Yeah, fair.
True.
If you look at it, though, there are 8 matches, and they fill about 3 hours with these pay-per-views. I say you give, Rollins or the championship match a solid 30, 40 minutes. like some of these matches you don't need a long time for. Like the Sasha Banks Charlotte tag team match, like 15 minutes tops.
Yeah, the biggest pop of the match is going to be finding out who the mystery partner is. The finish
Yeah,
is
and
going to
then
be
Sasha
almost
doing something
not-
because she's so over.
not mattering at all.
And then New Day and Wyatt's like, there's only three good wrestlers in that match, in Kofi, Big E, and Bray, kind of.
Xavier isn't bad.
He's not bad, but he's just not
He's the fourth
polished all
best
the way.
in that
He doesn't have
match.
a
You're
total
right.
moveset
You're right.
yet. So it's like, I don't need to see their match go on for 30 minutes. I'd rather just see something happen.
With a bunch of botches
And
and
plus,
Yeah.
we saw him fight in a random field. What's going to change
Yeah,
a real
exactly.
wrestling match now?
And then Rusev,
Oh, you're gonna
Ryder,
actually
and
know
Becky
what's
Lynch,
going on.
Natalya. If those go more than 15 minutes, like what are we doing here? You know. So if they pace this out right, there could be potential for some great matches in the Owens Zayn and then the championship match.
in the Club Cena match.
So we're
Yeah,
just
that one
we're
goes
all
for
in
a while.
agreement that Breezango needs a big win on the pre-show.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
That
really
is the
That's the one thing that we can all agree on.
Go Breezango.
Jesus. All right. With that note, we're coming up on our time here. Mr. Wang, tell the people where they can find us.
On Twitter at Fat Guys, capital N as in Nancy Friends. Facebook, Fat Guys and Friends. Email us, fatguysandfriends@gmail.com. And we're on iTunes. So like, download, subscribe, and all that stuff.
I love it. Good talk, everybody. Joe, good job again as the first returning guest. You did better than last time.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Hopefully I can be on again
Less
sometime.
Zack Ryder talk is always better, so you're doing good.
I
If
said I was
Zack
going to
Ryder
talk about him
becomes
once.
U.S. champion on Sunday, we owe Joe a public apology.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
formally apologize in the next podcast if Ryder wins.
Perfect. Can't wait to listen to it.
All right. And for anyone questioning why we do so much wrestling, please turn on SportsCenter and tell me what the hell else we're supposed to talk about.
Bingo.
All right. Thank you for listening. We will be back soon.
Goodbye.
Send us home. Bye.
Goodbye.